Okay, I've been lax as all get out about my Zoom meetings about going in and uploading them to my YouTube channel and then downloading them. Betting on Canvas. I just gotta, it's gonna take me 15 to 20 minutes. I just gotta come here and do it in case any of you have tried to access any Zoom meetings, any recorded meetings we've had. Plus, I haven't even started them from the beginning. And can you guys hear okay from there now? Now that I'm all the way over here. This is weird. I like to sit there. And
Yes.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you.
Zoom, yeah, you're good. Okay. Maybe now I'm gonna sit over there. It's my birthday. I can do whatever I want, right? Within reason.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hey, happy birthday.
Everything within
It was
reason. Yeah, I was-
Yesterday, it was my first. Woo.
yesterday was yours? Whose?
Yeah, it was my 21st yesterday.
Connor, you turned 21. No
Oh,
wonder you're wrecked.
Nice.
Like
Woo!
you looked like you fell down a flight of stairs. Just kidding. No. How bad was it? Did you remember what you did last night?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I went out for some drinks with my parents, but besides that, I just hung out with some friends.
Well, we didn't hear that. Connor, for his 21st birthday, went for drinks with your parents?
Yeah, just a dinner to
Ditch your
celebrate.
parents? Ditch your
Yeah.
parents at some point?
I had some good drinks after too, so I celebrated on my own.
Well, that's great. Hey, congratulations, man. 21.
Thank you.
On a Switch? Just kidding. Can you imagine? That was only 52 years ago. For me, that's half of what you do for your 21st. Oh, God. Yeah. Basically, if you remember your 21st birthday, you probably didn't have one. So tell me the date again today. Obviously, it's 9/7. Oh, sure, that makes sense. 31 was. Matthew here. Matthew on Tuesday. Lewis, present. Daniel Delgado. Here. Daniel, I gotta burn you guys' names, guys and girls' names. Claire's the only one I can remember because she's the only name out. Alex Dominguez. Yes. Alex, which one's Alex? Alex, thanks. Adair? Nope. Jesus.
Here.
Right, Jesus.
Resume.
Tyler Gates. Here. Tyler Gates. David Gowans. David, that's your student, right? Yeah. Nice person.
It's not that.
It's a nice student.
I wish it was.
Yeah. Those are the kind of. Christian Guzman.
Here.
Christian Dyfo Guzman.
Yeah.
Zach Higgins. Zach's my reminder dude, right? You're my recording reminder.
Ever since last week.
Yeah, Flavio. Here, Flavio Ibarra. Got your thing?
Yeah.
They didn't kick you out? Evan Kasoy. Connor Kelly. Happy birthday, Connor.
Sir. Thank you.
Claire Kenzie Clan. Matthias Mo. Matthias. Ryan Orozco.
Yeah.
Gadiel. Here. Brandon.
Here.
Hello. Trent. Here. Sedlmier. Trent. Michael Silva, where are you, man? And Isaac Here, hurry up. Yeah, so, attendance is really important. I think I made that clear, but it's important that I know that you're here too. So if you come in late, then please come. If you need to be late, just come. Don't not come because you're late. But if you come in late, just make sure you make some kind of eye contact and make sure you see me check you. Because if, remembering back, it's ridiculous. So this is the whole thing for attendance. And as you know, I told you about the grading part. No, you know what? I didn't say that. I told that to my 118 class because I'm not grading here. I mean, I will put my 2 cents with them. I will have some effect on your grade. I being my opinion of you, your participation in the class, your attendance in the class, any work you do, answers to my questions. I will chime in. Jim will be the major grader. So his grade criteria, I think he's given you in the syllabus, how he does grading. But for my class, 118 class, which is all mine, attendance is huge, as it is here, because you can't really participate, your attitude can't engage. You can't really have an attitude unless you're here. And that includes Zoom. So if you can't be here, the person, please be here on Zoom. And I said this about 10 minutes ago. We're gonna tentatively, and I'm going to confirm this, have a field trip in 2 weeks. The field trip will be to the Hut Construction Inc. plant, physical plant, which is 74 Euro Camino. I'll have all this an announcement for you. It's a cabinet shop and offices of a construction company and a yard, construction yard. So we'll tour them. Some power tools. And I might get somebody to build a cabinet. I might not. I usually would get. I'll have pizza, so you can count on that. There'll be pizza and fizzy drinks, non-sugared flavored fizzy drinks, and pizza. And I'm going to give you the tour of the shop. And then I used to have one of my guys, Scott, who's now somewhere in Iowa, I guess. Victor. I'll probably do that too. I'll probably pay one of my ex-guys or one of the guys at Richfield Construction to build a top. Like all these cabinets here. There's more. There's more than this, but this is a typical box. So the loose kick, top spreader, rear spreader, top bottom rear nailers, slide back for soft close hinges. We'll just bust this out, showing you a system which casework is made in that particular shop. Everybody has their own system. With the system, the cabinets are basically made in 2 styles, 2 basic styles: frameless and face frame. Frameless and face frame. I'll just go ahead and write that down. Just to tell you about just to briefly step off topic. Cabinets. I'm going free form tonight. There's frameless. Let's start up face frame, which were kind of our first cabs, or older style cabs, and then newer is frameless. Newer being within the last, say 40 years. And frameless is also called, AKA, also known as 32 millimeter, also known as Euro style. That's what that door is. That's a frameless cabinet because the casework, that is the box. This is the box. Is a box. It's called a case. And all cabinets are a bunch of boxes put together with doors and drawers hanging. That's all they are. In various and sundry configurations. But there are some standards. for the install boxes. But we'll talk about that another time. Why was I even telling you this? It's the difference between face frame and framing. So on a face frame cabinet, that upper cabinet over there, which was one of the first cabinets we built designed in there, it has a face frame. So it has a solid wood frame that's applied to the face of the cabinet, and the doors hang off the face frame, either on the outside of the face frame, full overlay, on the inside of the face frame, full inset, or half in, half out lift. And again, we're not getting to that yet. I'm just like giving you some info that some of you may not have. And then this is frameless, or 32 millimeter or Euro stuff. 32 millimeter is these holes. They're on 32 millimeter increments. These holes, 32 millimeter increments. This happens to be a clip-on, soft close. So you can just clip on. Come on. Snap them on. Soft close hinge. It makes building cabinets and hanging doors really easy compared to hanging doors and openings like those, like button doors. Okay, so right into your project. That's what let's do. So Trent's got a project that we're gonna do. It'd be simple, I hope. It would be pretty simple. Why I volunteered to do it for us in class. Here's the stock. All right. Let's see. So we got some pieces of. Now, do you remember? I was talking to Thursday night's class, but does anybody, can anybody tell me what this lumber is? No, actually, that's not good. This is dimensional lumber. So this is a 1x, so 1x8. S4S, right? S4S. What's that mean? Anybody know?
Surface four sides.
Very, very good. Four sides. S4S, and then of course, and because it's a board store board, S4S is different than like a solid birch or solid maple or solid cherry or solid walnut or poplar or alder, which if you said 4/4 S2S, surface two sides, that 4/4 would be 3/4. This is called 1x. 1x8. I'm sorry, 1x10, which should net out at 9.5. This nets out at 9 3/16. So it's typical. They're just getting smaller and smaller. So this should net out at 7.5, and then that's at 7 and just over 4. But regardless, this board's worked. It's got a ugly work in it that I'm not going to joint out. But if I was really building something, I would never use this board without jointing that out. And since you probably, some of you don't know what jointing is, that's a jointer. And when I demonstrate power tools, I'll try to roll that out for you. But a larger jointer, yes.
So what's the difference between planing it out?
Well, a planer will not take work line or twist out of the board. Won't do it, it's not capable of doing it. It'll just follow, right? So you shoot that board through the surfacer and you'll get it thinner. And it'll still have the work. Will not take it out. A jointer, you will face joint, keep going until it's dead flat, and then edge joint, same thing. So jointer is how you get wood flat. And straight, but that's not the only way to get it straight, but it's one of the only ways to get it flat, start flat. There are a couple of ways, but that's the fastest way. So where was it? So I think we can make this work, especially based on Trent's design. So let's see what we're doing here, Trent. We're building, and what is this? Is it a stool? Is it a table? What is it?
It's pretty much a stool. It's 21, like width. The base will be 21, and then I want it to be 13 inches tall.
So you're gonna sit on it?
Yeah.
That's-
Sit on it.
Okay, so if I see this thing right. You're gonna take a 21-inch, we're gonna look at it from top view, right? It's gonna be, we're not gonna do anything to that board. Hopefully, we don't have to joint it. We don't have to do a damn thing to it, but it's not gonna be 9.5, by the way. So it's really gonna be what it is, right? So we don't have to joint or rip any of these things. We just have to cross cut them. That's all we're doing, right? Which is kind of, but we're gonna do it. Okay. Okay. Are we marrying, we're making the union of two of these boards, right? It doesn't have a bottom, it's just got a top and then
There's
two
there's
legs.
a bottom, so there'll be two 21-inch,
It does have a bottom.
yeah,
So that is, so just like you should, it has a bottom.
and then it's the legs and the ones that are going vertical are sandwiched. in between.
You don't have anywhere near enough material. You know that, right?
Thought I do.
You don't even have close enough material. So check it out. So if your cut list is right, see all these legs. Let's see. Let's just see. So see what 11.5 is, so maybe I could be mistaken. I was thinking this thing was tall. It's only 15 tall, I see that, but she was only really 11.5. because she went with- So if that's the case, you got 23 plus 22 is 46. And then 42, so that's 88, that's 88 inches, right? Altogether, right? 2 and 11.5 inches long, that's 23 inches, right? 2 at 11.5 inches long, that's 23 inches. Two of those are 46, correct?
Yeah.
And then 2 21s are 42. 42 and 46 is 88 inches. What do you do that? 68, okay, and you do it, take it all back. Take it all back. So Trent has cut listed this. But this is a down view of it, and then it's gonna have a leg and a leg, two L-shaped legs. And then opposite that, it's gonna be like this, right, Trent? The wide here,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Like that. And this is the one. Yeah, so this will be the 9.5 leg, and this will be the 7.5 leg, right?
Yep.
And then this is the 9.5 leg. This is the 7.5 leg, and the whole thing overall is 21. Okay, that's looking down on it. Now looking at it from a side view, got the 3/4 top, it's 21, right? And then looking at it from here, what you're going to see is this edge of this leg. This 13-inch leg. It's now 13. You'll see the edge of this leg, and then you're going to see the whole 7.5, 6 3/4 of this leg looking at it like that. Those are going to be very together, right? That's this guy looking at it, turned over like that, face on. And then over here, you're going to see that 7.5 out front. It's underneath, right? That's 7.5 out front. And then the 9.5 is going to be on the other side, right? No, or actually, it's 9.5 edge will show. Yeah, okay. Right, 9.5 edge will show, nail. Okay, and that's the back side. Okay. And then did you have something in the middle? No.
Nope, just that bottom.
And then you got a bottom. You got a bottom. Okay, so I'm not going to critique your design in any way, shape, or form at this point.
You're not gonna tell us your thoughts at all?
Oh, at this point. So yeah, I make particular design. At this point, we're just gonna go with your design and we're gonna build it. And then we'll proceed. And we'll all get a chance to critique it. And at this point, you know, you've put enough time and energy into it. It's what you want, right? It's what you want to build. And I don't want to talk you out of doing something else or doing something else for you. So
After, I'd love to hear.
yeah. I will, because it's very unorthodox. I've never seen anything like this before in my life.
Rodney, I just got one question.
Shoot.
About the height of this.
Yeah.
Is that low for a chair? 13 inches?
Yeah. So, but you
Or like,
research
I
this.
just picked 13 as a number.
Pardon me?
I just like 13.
Okay, there you go. So this is your thing. That's why I don't want to talk that. Chair height is 18 inches. By the
It's
way.
not gonna be really chair.
Got it. I understand that. Totally. That's why I'm not questioning it. But chair height is 18 to 20 inches. Table height for working on is 30 inches, 29 to 30 inches. Countertop height is 36 inches. Those are standard. 36 inches standard kitchen countertop height, 18 inches of space, 30 inches under cabinet takes you to a 7-foot ceiling or a foot away from an 8-foot ceiling with an 8-foot soffit, a Dremel, or you can go taller on your upper cabinets. But that's why we make up the cabinets 30 inches. So the standard in cabinetry is a 30-inch box is your lower, 24 deep, and the 30-inch box is your upper. Now you see the advantage of that, right? You have one 30-inch increment. Slip your saw one time at 30 inches. All your uppers are 30 inches tall. All your lowers are 30 inches tall. Now you might ask yourself, how can the lowers be 30 inches tall when they finish at 36? They're 4.5 inches of kick. Toe space, 4.5 inches. They're 30 inches of box, and they're 1.5 inches of rough top and finish top. So 1.5, 30, 4.5, 36. That's a 36-inch cabinet. But in any given house, the kitchen cabinetry, they're supposed to plane at 36 inches will be 36 inches in one spot, but maybe not all over. Why would that be? Why would the kitchen cabinet height, which you want to achieve at 36, and you build up a 4.5 inch kitchen, 30-inch cabinet, an 1.5 inches of finished top on top of that, which adds 36. Why wouldn't your countertop, like on a 16-foot run, why would it? Yeah, some floors out of level. Floors out of level. And generally, floors are out of level. Generally, floors are not level. Generally, ceilings are not level, and generally walls are not plumb. That's pretty much it. And that's what carpenters pretty much expect that. So they have tricks and ways to solve that, like major, like right off the boat. Open the gate, and there's your problem. My God, we've got to hang these cabinets, and they've got to be dead level in this direction and dead level in this direction, and yet our wall leans in 8 feet, a half inch, and our floor in 16 feet falls off 1.25 inches. Oh my gosh, what do we do? Well, because your cabinets need to be dead level, we take it all out and kick. So if you got 1.25 inches difference in your floor, it runs downhill or uphill, regardless. You're going to have a 4.5 inch kick at one floor. You're going to take that out and move forward. But your cabinets level. Windows, doors, dead level, dead plumb, set. Set windows and doors, dead plumb, dead level. Set all cabinets, dead level in both directions. And there's no deviation from that. There's no, unless it's too hard. There's no deviation, right? Doesn't matter what floor it is. Okay.
What did you say standard table height was again? Did you say 30 to 32 inches?
For which then?
Standard table height?
30, 29 to 30.
29.
Yeah, so desk height, an eating table, dining table, desk where you work at, where you sit and work. Really 28 to 30, but 30 is the mean, is the norm. Okay, so Trent has a cut list here, and it's 2 pieces of this stuff here. All right, let's just cut the cut list and she will just whack this together. Normally I would joint and rip, but we don't even need to rip. I don't even need to touch the saw. I'm going to cut everything on this. So let's move this out of the way. You guys cheers. Everybody. Let's get this Hitachi. Hitachi after. Bring this up. This is Pat's next. But would Trent, give me a favor. Open that door. This one. Yeah, move yourself out of the way. Open that door. Take it back. This stuff has been blocking stuff in another place. All this. Let's just get this to nail together your thing. Some like-minded tools over there. Like-minded tools that look like that. Okay, so this is a chop saw, or actually, more accurately, compound miter saw. We're gonna jump right ahead to some hand tools and power tools. We're not gonna do this, so we don't need to. So we could cut this on the table saw. We could set up the miter guide, which is pretty much treated at 90. And we could use the table saw, cut this on the table saw, but this is the job on the miter saw, which will cut that, cut those widths. So compound miter saws used to be called chop saws. We're gonna blow some sawdust that way. This saw is for cross cutting and for cutting lighters, not just 45s. It's not for ripping. Ripping is cutting a board with the grain. So if we were going to rip this stock, we would be ripping it with the grain. The grain runs this way. We're going to be cross cutting this stuff. You don't really have to rip it. We're going to go with just the way it is. We don't have to joint it. It's going to be great. Okay, it's dimensional. So let's just go ahead and cut our start out with. Trevor's got two 7.5 by 11.5. Now, first thing we want to be sure and do is square up what we got, and of the 9.5 inch boards, we got 23 inches and 42 inches. So 22 and 42 is 65, right? You got 68, so we don't have a lot to spare. We won't spare a lot. So, okay. Chop saws used to be chop saws, miter saws, right? Rockwell had a 9-inch. Rockwell had a 10. I had a 10 for a long time. A bunch of other companies came out with them, but they just chopped and then they for microphones. It's just like that. This saw will chop. But do that, you can chop a board. It's a compound miter saw. So it will do that, right? So you can do wider boards, and it will do compound miters. So not just miters like that. And by the way, there are positive stops here for a variety of reasons. There are positive stops for cutting crown molding on a flat. There are positive stops at 22.5 degrees, which is a used miter, at 45 and at 30, at 31.9, and I think 30.3. Those are numbers that are used in cutting crown moldings on the flat, right? Crown moldings on the flat. That crown molding has a 38 and a 52 degree spring angle. Now, you don't plan to remember all this stuff. Crown moldings come in two ways: 45, spring angle is 45, which is 45, or 52, 38. Most of your crowns, like that crown up on top of that cabinet, that crown, that's 52, 38. You can cut that crown rather than up on the angle it goes, chop, on the miter saw. You can cut it on the flat with a compound miter saw, because with a compound miter saw, we can do stuff like not just change the miter, but we can also change the bevel. So we can change that. We can put that in a variety of places so that we do a beveled cut as well as that's called a compound angle. And you can do shadow boxes, and you can cut front one flat. So all of these things have positive stops. So I'm going to take this to its positive stop. It stops, should stop right on 0. my zero stop. Well, I don't really like this stuff. I haven't adjusted the saw personally. That's my 90-degree stop. I'm locking in. This is freed up. This is. And this will touch this board. All right. So the miters have positive stops. So when you press this guy in, all these compound miter cells. And by the way, Hitachi is top of the line. That still makes a chop sound, which is really, really, really precise. German engineering, all that jazz. Hitachi is the top. Got the dough by the Hitachi. They were the first ones to come out. They came out an 8 1/4, and they have been pretty much the best, the most reliable, and the most accurate. So put that to positive stop at 90, right? We're pressing that, keeping this loose. I'm going to tighten this, which means it cannot move now from 90. I can't bump it. And I'm going to start out and square this up. And I've got 3 inches to play with, and I've got curves. Okay, so that should be square. Not even check it for square. Triple chip blade is just dull as hell. Blade is so dull that the fact that this is pine, we're gonna go with it. Now, what I should do is I should set up a stop.
Like, cause pine is kind of hard.
Pine's kind of soft. Pine is about as soft as it gets.
Okay. So
It's not much, there's not a whole lot softer than pine. So this POC blade will do it. It's gonna feather it a little bit, but it's still a clean cut.
what if that was like a redwood or something like way harder?
Redwood's super soft.
Okay, say there's like a hardwood, it's worse if you have a gold blade,
Oh, hell yes.
because it'll like just
Burn it.
Oh,
Not so much shredder to just make bigger saw, more saw marks. It'll burn, the blade will burn. 'Cause this wants to burn it out. It's just really dull. It's a really bad blade. I haven't used the saw in a while. This looks like it's got some really bad use. And I'm not willing to cut it up right now. We have to make a few cuts. If we're gonna work, we're gonna work for this thing. I would normally, I would set up a stop for this. Not gonna set up a stop for this. Why am I not gonna set up something?
what do you mean a stop?
Okay, so if you're cutting multiples of anything, and if I were multiple numbers, right? In your case, you've got we have 4 cuts to make, they're 11 and a half. And we have 2 cuts to make, they're 21. So we have 2 different cuts to make. We have to make 4 exactly the same and 2 exactly the same. And to get them exactly the same, you set up a stop. So that, and the stop in this case would be, we'd square it up, right? We set the stop up back here, and I'm gonna need something that's not on here. I'm gonna need an auxiliary table to clamp the stop to. I'm gonna need something that I don't have.
Oh, just so you can like push it into
The stop, right? So that stop is set up at 21, right? And as long as I clean the sawdust out of the stop, I take it squared in, snug it up at the stop, I cut it. I cut it squared in. I take that squared in, snug it up at the stop, I cut it. And so there's no measure. So it's just, they are all the same. And I should do it for 4 too, but again, at 13, there are stops that come with this machine. Slip into some of these extrusions and you can move them and adjust them. If they're not here, I have no idea where they are or where they went, if they were ever here in the first place. If I really wanted to be accurate, and this were a project that I didn't think I'd get away with doing this on, I would put an auxiliary table on here, screw it down and clamp it down, and then I marry stops either with clamps or screws. That's how important it is. I've spent explaining. So we have a We're in down here. Let's cut our 221s first, right? We get a 21. Right behind it, French square. Just straight up all the way. Keep going. No, yes. Yeah. This is a Franken square, or the steel square. You pick the worst one of the whole bunch. I'm done. It's okay. It doesn't really matter, to tell you the truth, because they're pretty square. There's a lot of information on this one that is not available because it's all rusted off. Can't see it. Okay, so what's an adage you've all heard about carpentry? Right? You should only get to cut this once. You cut it long, that's the good news. Cut it long, you can cut it. Right. I'm gonna cut the line off. Somebody just hold that so it doesn't flip up on me. Just hold on to it in case it flips up like that. So but don't let it bind. Okay? What I mean, don't push it up. So this is one way to get two boards.
Can you lose like an eighth of an inch when you cut it?
Solid eight. Depends on your depends on your blade. But you can figure about an eighth of an inch. And I'm gonna take the line off. Sometimes I decide to leave the line on. In this case, that was a little slightly over 20. There's our top and bottom. That's that 2 9.5 and 21. Now we need 2 9.5, 11.5. I got a good square cut. This is why I don't use these pencils. I don't use these pencils. Let's stay sharp. Can you see my pencil? Oh, mechanical pencil. 7mm pencil. Remind me to show you this stuff before I throw it away. Okay, I got a bunch of stuff I gotta throw away, and I just want to show you what I did. 1/4 drop head, 7mm pencil. Yeah, rules you can draw with the best of them. Okay, 11.5, right, Trevor? Yep.
Miss Trent.
Sorry, Trent. TRE, baby. It's pretty damn good for a guy like me. Trenton's your full name, right?
No, it's just Trent.
It's Trent Rush. Yeah. It's funny too, because like I had a girlfriend, Allison, we called her Allie. And my wife's doesn't like to hear anything about anything I was ever, anyone I was ever with. But we have a niece named Allie. I always thought her name was Allison, but it's not. It's just- 11.5, right?
Yeah.
Now we need. Those are 9.5, 11.5. These are 7.5, 7, whatever, 11.5, right? What are we gonna start out with first, guys and gals? Let's just square it up. Always square it up. Don't depend on the factor. Check this. Square it. Let's see, that's kind of, can you square with you? Yeah. No daylight whatsoever. That's good.
On the previous board, what was the pre-cutting that you were doing?
So you can just-
On the previous board, when you were like doing a pre-cut, like you're going into it slightly before
I was walking it over the line,
Hmm.
just scoring it, see what was gonna hit, scoring until I was satisfied with that's what it goes. And then on top, here, as long as I'm not cutting it into a place where I'm gonna have a board that's got, that I've kind of used and then moved the cut, right? So if I just barely score on top. You look at it, you can't even really tell I scored so hard, but it's obviously, it obviously gets scored. So we like what that is. What do I need? 2 pieces here, right? Two pieces, 11.5. Okay, here we go. By the way, anytime you're using a frame square, make a line, square line. Try not to use this edge. This is a better edge, way back. How do you know the inside of your square is going to be the best edge? And then don't ask me why I explain that, because I'll be hard pressed to tell you why. Here we go. Fine. It's just soft, malleable. So awkward stuff. You're not just feeding a piece of wood to a machine. You're guiding the wood to do exactly what you want. And you can mess it up. You gotta make sure you're contacting the fence, right? That it's held down. All kinds of nasty things can happen. Like for instance, you see that insert right here? This is an insert for this blade. It keeps, so it just allowed, and somebody cranked this blade to an angle. Well, I guess they didn't. You know, it just allows the blade to come up through the saw and very little around, so you can't have things drop down through it. So the one that came with it, that's aftermarket. One that came with the saw. This one. So while that saw was running and I was ripping something, this thing drifted up on me. I don't know if it was the board caught, something happened, and this thing got into the blade. Oh, yeah, it's pretty fixed. The blade did that like it was butter, literally, like it was butter. Okay, so now we've got prints. Is that your pencil? That one's not. Where's your pencil? Okay, so let's. Are we gonna glue it?
Have some wood screws, but what's new?
Yes.
When cutting on the chop saw, should we use clamps or is it some, like,
No. What you should do though is, you should wear safety glasses. I should really put a pair over my glasses, but I've been using just glasses for so long. I take it for granted. Safety glasses would be better. You should always use safety glasses. You should never clamp my torso. The reason why is there's no reason for it. It's a time consuming thing that you don't need to do. Unless you got some really crazy cut. But if you can't hold that thing and hold this thing, there's something wrong. Seriously. You don't need one. It's very stable platform. It's really stable. It's really stable weight. So no, if you were clamping, it'd be cut. Now, but some of them make hold downs. Well, in fact, I think they all make a hold down, you can swing around and clamp it down, which is, I don't mean to say that's not a bad idea. Have a wood clamp like that, you should be able to hold your work. You really should. It's designed for you to do that. You probably want that, right? Yeah. We'll put that right here, just so we don't forget it. That's it, right? We cut it out, now we can now we'll glue it, nail it together. See what happens, or would you prefer to screw it?
I'm okay with it. Well, I don't have a pre-sync, so.
Do you, it'll be stronger with screws. That's for sure. It will be stronger with screws, but I'm thinking the way you've got this thing, right? We're gonna make, we'll just make. Yeah, let's just nail it together, because the way you've got it, I think it's so racked with so much surface area, right? With this. That like that. Not like that, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then this like this. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. Nope. I doubt that will collapse.
Yeah, no,
it's fine. So let's see if you can find the Teflon that looks like we can get some glue out of it. Look at a couple of those. Look at some of the photo ones, because they're gonna. Is it open? Yeah. Okay, good. All right, cool. So with any luck, and I should have done this when I came in, because I could have, should have, would have, should have charged this up, but I think it's probably got plenty of charge. Let's just say, heck with probably, let's say this has got plenty of charge. Is anybody hot? You guys here okay? Everybody here okay? You know, I totally forgot about you. I forgot to turn that. So you could see the chop saw. I am so sorry. So the next time I do that, somebody say something, okay?
Yeah.
Because I just forgot about you guys. I apologize all over the place. So let's get you in here so you can see what we're doing, okay? What, did you see us cut this out at all on Zoom?
Yeah, you can see.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah, we saw.
And you heard
Yeah,
my
we saw.
explanation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So now we're instead of finding a compressor, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this gun. It's a cordless lithium-ion battery. No, this is finished. It's a 15 gauge. This is a nice gauge for a finish nailer. And we got some good long nails in there. I like that. Let's see if we can't figure out how to turn it on. I always have to. Hi, menu. I got it last year. Yeah, it's pretty new. I mean, it hasn't done a lot. I think that's it. I think that's gonna nail. You hear crying baby? Crying baby? A bunch of crying babies? Okay, so gauges, wire gauges, right? Nail gauges. These days, finish nails are what you would use, which to do finish with. So they're that casing, which is the molding that trims out the door, finish nails. I like to use a number 4 or even a wire nailer, which is what that green one is. It shoots a 23 gauge wire nail. The higher the gauge, the smaller 15 gauge, way bigger than 23. I like to use a small gauge nail to nail it to the jam because it's easy to split. But pneumatically driven nails or battery operated, power driven nails don't split. But they're really good, way better than a pointy nail. And if you're driving a pointy nail to finish work on the edge, you want to always take that pointy nail, turn it over, put it on a piece of concrete, and give it a whack on the head, on the pointy part, dulling the pointy part. And that, because that pointy part wants to split apart the fibers of the wood might want to split, especially up towards the end. When you blunt that, and it's more pushy through, it's less apt to split. Just a FYI for you. But outside here where we want to go through 5/8 and then 5/8 sheetrock, and we want to go into the trimmer split, the king split. That's using a 15 gauge nail. 16 gauge is what we were using forever. And then we come up with 15 gauge nail, which is a little thicker nail, and it's got a little square head. Doesn't have the big nail head like you see in framing. No, like that's drywall screws, that's a drywall nail. If we were to look at some framing nails or 16s, finished nails, small heads, wire nails have virtually no head. You can dial these nailers in to set it to set the nail below the surface so that the fingers can go in and put, vinyl caulk or whatever they use to caulk, whatever they use to fill. But right now, let's do something that we really should do. This is not really green. I'm going to put the air conditioner on with the windows up, but I gotta get some shoulder. I want to shoot a nail in something waste.
You can use that extra strap with the line. See if it's working.
And hand me a yes. And then the question?
Have you ever seen anybody get like nailed on an accident?
Hand me something like a nail puller, you know what they look like? Something with two, like that red handle up on top, I think that's a good one. Any one of those red handles. Either one of those. We're good. So there's a righty nail puller. This is an actual. You can pull it out through the backside because the head's so small. Pass that around. You see how small that is. That's a good nail though. It's got a good grab. And the interesting thing one of the interesting things about these nails is that the friction driving them actually melts the little vinyl coating on them. It keeps them together. It helps them stay. Yes, it's wild. Let's put this away. No, I'll keep it just in case. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to jinx myself. But, okay, that's on. Let's go ahead and we're not going to sand these or anything, right? No. Okay. So. First thing I want to do is I'm going to nail this guy. Put him out. A nice tasty knot out. That's pretty clean right there. I'm going to use this just to hold it up. Support it. Now, I need something, but I'm not going to worry about it. This is the fact that this has glue. That's the good news. The fact that it has glue. Generally, all right, fine. I'm going to need a rag. It's the worst and ugliest rag you can find. So, when you do wood glue right, if you clamp it, which we're not going to do. Aliphatic resin glue. If you clamp it, anything, That's.
Is there a way you clean the board with though, right?
Yeah, but it's all right. I won't leave it there.
It's that nice one.
It really needs it. You need to put the glue on both surfaces. Put it a little heavy on this because I was gonna use this for both surfaces. I just like to put it on the surface because I didn't want to put my hands full of it. That's what, if I had my nail apron on, you'd see it's just full of glue on the front. Most carpenters, most cabinet makers, nail aprons are full of glue on the front. Glue cleans up with water. What's the clamp time of yellow glue? How long should something that you glue with this glue, how long should it stay in the clamps? That's not,
I didn't say.
I do know that.
I just said 20.
20 minutes. 20 minutes. Little bit of a blowout. Keep that. First one, two. I'm just not used to this done.
You're making a cabinet, would you be measuring those distances?
Which ones?
For
For my nailing?
Yeah.
I don't think I would. I don't think I would because I'd probably be filling them and making it go away. I'd be generally the cabinet making. You're doing things blind. So I wouldn't be just doing. I wouldn't be doing nails. If I was making a cabinet for somebody, probably wouldn't be nailing it. I might be screwing it, plugging it. I might be doing it. More than likely, I would do it with something blind, like a joint or like a glue line, like a shoulder miter joint, which I'll hopefully get a chance to show you. I can show you here. This is a lock ladder joint. It's made of paper, single pass, two different attitudes with each piece. It's a locking miter. Does not need anything. Clamps and glue. It's tough. And what I was going to say is that if you do a glue joint correctly, that is, you clamp it, and you leave it the clamps for over 20 minutes, the wood should break. Wood should break before the glue. So this is what we're going to do. This is just like that, right? Right, Trent? Now we can turn these any way we want. So let's show that nice looking knot out. Show that out. Now nailing these right, it's not good to take it.
balance those out.
Really, really doing my job. I'd show you guys the real way to use glue. Flux brush. F-L-U-X. Flux. I buy these by the case, or I did buy them by the case. Putting on solder flux to solder joints. But they're great. They're great things to apply glue. So right, Trevor? That's it. Glue that to that. Correct? Yeah. Just like that. Yeah, that piece. We want to do is want us to leave it. It's a glue squeeze out, but the most important thing about gluing is getting it on white glue, wood glue, is getting it on both surfaces, a nice clean, even spread on both surfaces. That's the most important. And then some pressure, which hopefully the nails will provide enough pressure. Keep the nail moving, especially if it looks like we've got a little glue squeeze out, which is what you want. Want some glue squeeze out. And by the way, gluing is tricky. We don't glue our cabinets. None of those cabinets are glued. But I don't let my guys even get near it. I'll explain you some point later. Just suffice to say, when you screw things together, you don't need to glue it. It can't cause more problems with this wood. There's a lot of cleanup, and if you're gluing stuff that's stain grade, it shows, you have to be very careful with glue, with taking a wet towel and wiping glue squeeze out off, because you smear that glue, that watered down glue, the water in the rag, smear it into the grain of the wood. It's an open grain wood, like white or red oak, or something like that. You can get glue into the grain of the wood. You can't get it out except by sand. It's color different. The stain won't take it off. Nasty things happen. They go, well, yeah, I wiped all the glue off, but what you wound up doing was wiping a watered down version of the glue all over. So here we go. Let's see if I can do better this time. And no blowouts. Crap. Started with it's bad. Real bad.
Was that to pull a nail out?
Say again?
Like you never pull a nail out from where you shot it in from?
Well, a headed nail, yes. These nails, because the heads are so small,
It's like a
you
finish.
can't really get them up. Yeah, it's not like a finished nail. It is a finished nail. This one I might beat up. That one I might beat up. So hand me a finish hammer. One without a waffle head. Man, you see any nail sets right there? Well, I had a bunch of nail sets. No, I do have a bunch of nail sets.
There is a nail set.
There is?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
I don't know if it's any good.
That's all right. Yes, that's a nail set. So in hand tools, finish hammer. Sold by the ounce. So here it is. Read it. I think it's 20 ounce. But that's a good claw finish hammer. What's the difference between a finish hammer and a framing hammer? Waffle head, yeah. Typical framing hammer, you have a waffle head. Show them on there. See that? That's to grab your nail here. They're usually heads are bigger and the handles are longer, because anybody can hit a nail like that. And that's about half the leverage you need to drive a nail. Nail is driven like that. With all, just kidding, but that's where your leverage is. Whole handle. So when you get proficient at driving nails, you use the whole hammer. So let's see if we can't just coax this out of here without too much more damage. So soft, and I sunk the head. Right, get over there, please. Push down. This is our waist piece. We're not using it correctly. I want to wipe this glue off, but I want to really want is I want it to just dry. Just like that. That's the best. The best way. Notice I'm not putting it on the other piece. Hot fish. Got a little bit of warp.
Why is it that you want to put on the surface?
It's all the glue it needs. I'm kind of going over something like this. By the time we get done nailing it with the glue it's got, it's not going anywhere. Not in this century, or anytime soon. I want to watch your hands. It's glue out. Watch your hands. I saw a carpet layer get a 1.25 inch staple. So 1/4 inch narrow crown staple, right? So 1/4 inch head. Buried all the way into stump. So it's 1.25 inches. So I had to get back to the person. I had to stand on his hand, the carpet he was laying, with a pair of lineman's pliers, pull for all I was worth. Pull that thing out, right? The guy, you know, a little blood, he bled, he wrapped it up in duct tape, and 10 minutes later, he was banging the carpet down. Ingrain soaks up so much more glue at the surface. So if you don't just put a bunch of glue on the ingrain, it's gonna transfer. Like I said, it's the nails. The glue is really gonna cement the deal. No pun intended, but maybe I should.
It's like structurally, the glue is almost as strong as the nails, or
Well, if it's done right, if it's clamped, then yes, then it becomes a part of the wood. But the glue will help it stay together. But the nails really, between the nails and the glue. Oh, yeah.
is your wood surface higher than comfortable? Is your work surface higher than it is like. to
Oh,
be
absolutely. Way higher. So somebody come in here. Needs you. Do it on your phone. Right there, you see my thumb? Like that, push that up flush. Okay, yeah. Good job. We'd still be screwing this thing. I mean, we would be screwing it. Doing our. Solid. There you go, bud. Appreciate it. Yeah, just let the glue dry. Don't put it in your car, or we'll find a rag and wash it off. Or maybe what we'll do is take a break right now. Why don't you take it up to the John and get some wet towels and just wipe off all that glue. 'Cause you're not. Are you gonna stay in there?
No, not right
You
now.
might paint it or something.
Paint it, or sand it.
Just get the glue off.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll be ready to sand stuff. Are you stoked or what?
Yeah, so I drew it, then you can build it. You can draw, you can build it. Good job. Good job. Thank you.
Okay, back here, come back, come back at 7:35, we'll talk briefly. And then we'll wash my- Trevor. Okay, you guys, take a break. Take a break, and don't forget to tell me to Hey, gang. Hey, my Zoom gang and my in-class gang. I think I'll pin myself. So I told you I'd critique Trent's design. In the first place, before I do that, and I really never asked Trent what the use was, right? Because you guys all know about an adage called function before form. Function before form. So when we design, I like to design for function in front of form. Some people design for form. So tell me, what is the use of this thing?
So it all came from, I just had extra wood
Okay.
laying around, so I had that certain amount of length.
Okay.
That I only had 2 pieces of wood, so I wanted a stool. So I was trying to maximize. I didn't want it to be too tall because I already had a chair like that, so I kicked it out.
So you wanted a stool for starters. The stool, you're going to use it as a stool. And then what else? What else are you going to use it for?
Maybe even now I could put something in the middle, like a little storage.
So you could put something in it. You could put books in it. You could put your bong in it. You could put something like that, right?
And I just needed it to be, I knew there couldn't just be this way. I had to have some like rigidity.
Yeah.
I had to add. the-
So you came up with the L-shaped corners to stiffen it because you knew, or you were thinking, I don't want to put words in your head, in your mouth, but you were thinking that if you just did the ends, you might want to collapse, which I totally agree. So it want to be sheared or stiffened somehow. Typically, if you're building a box like that, it has a back, and the back racks the box. So if this were just like a regular box, right? You want to build a regular box. It's 21 by 13 tall. You do the top and the bottom sides and have it be open, right? But with no shear, the thing you just go like add it open. Without too much problem. But by putting a back on it, that shears and racks the whole cabinet, box/cabinet. And if the back is square, just the back is cut square. You don't know how to check for square? You tell me how to check for square. one way to check for square, but in a cabinet, it's not a way that you use. There's a much easier way, any rectangle or square.
Don't you like measure the diagonal of the map?
You just measure it out both corners, right? So. Got two pockets. So if I throw the tape, and then on that side of the tape, I get 24 3/4. Measure on that side of the tape again, I get 24 3/4 on my, this is dead square. The square is against. If those two dimensions did not match, it would be out of square. I think it matched perfectly, so that means it's square. The good news is the boards were probably parallel from the factory. We cut square, all our cuts were square. So this got put together square. And it turned out square, amazingly enough. And I think this really helped rack it. So your idea, just using dimension lumber, not having to rip anything, it's a really great idea because you made a really stiff stool. You could stand on this. You could do all kinds of stuff with it. You could make a cutout with a handle on it. You could do all kinds of fun stuff. And put your ball. So I probably would have, if I was building this box. Well, in the first place, I have to think of its use, right? I have to consider its use and who I was building it for. If I'm building it for you for money, that's one thing. And I also have to consider its use. If I'm building it for me, I'm not building it for anybody for money. I'm building it for me, and it's something that I'm just going to kind of kick around. It's not really a furniture piece per se. Then I could bang it out like this. And I can also take this and sand it up a little bit, fill the nail holes, and paint it, and it'll just be perfect. And then color them on. But also stain it and fill the nail holes. A little rougher with the nails. But if I were building it as a cabinet for someone, it was like, let's say it wasn't flying off the shelf. It was all that. I don't care if it was dimensioned. I would joint every edge, so I know I had a flat, square, straight edge, and I would rip everything on the saw, so I know every one of my boards would be exactly the same width. I would take those saw marks off, and I would machine each part just like I do for any cabinet or any furniture job. Every part is machined. In this case, we had dimensional lumber. This was totally appropriate for what Trent. I figured I kind of got a sense of what Trent. We talked a little bit about what Trent wanted to do with it. So. And then the more I looked at his design after I got it and draw it, the more I realized this would work great. And this is pretty easy to build. It was pretty easy to build. So the chop saw, yeah, that's an $800 saw. Brand new. It's worth its weight in gold.
Just the top part.
Yeah, that's separate. Just the saw. So, and I might be mistaken on it. You guys can double check. But it's not cheap saw. There are saws in different brands for less. And we could have banked this out even faster had I not taken the time to show what I was doing. But I think we got it made pretty quick. Thank you for the opportunity. To demo. I thought we'd get to demo the table saw, and we will get to demo the table saw. I promise we'll get to demo the table saw, but right now, before I let you all go, I want to share a screen with you. Yeah, well, first, let's do this. Let's pin the.
Start recording.
Yeah, did. I had seen the back of my head. So I'm going to throw some of this stuff out. I was going through my my clipboard. I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to add. I had some graph pads made. These are my old company graph pads. HUD Construction, Architectural Mill graph pad, Hope's steel windows graph pad, more Akari stone, Geldwin. And I collect these pads, right? So I must have left them. I had some new pads with my new name style. Oh, here they are. So yeah, I sold my corporation in February 2nd, 2015. The deal was inked. And so from that moment on, I did not have a contractor's license. my corporation have a contractor's license, and if you incorporate and your corporation has a contractor's license, that contractor's license goes with the corporation, not with you. So I sold the contractor's license with the corporation, so I had no license for 5 years. And I had a 5-year window to get a new name style and just do the application, pay them $300. And that took the test. So I have a new name style. It's Rodney Construction Design. I had 4-inch scrap pads made because I use these guys to sketch and dimension, to take all my field measurements, and I also use them to make scale drawings, which hopefully we'll get a chance to show you some of that. But the whole process, scale drawing, something in the real world, and something that either exists or is going to exist. You're either dreaming up, designing a room that exists, and you're going to build things into it. To draw to scale, to draw a plan, my technique is to sketch and dimension in the field, and then take it back to the drawing board, and then take your time and draft to scale. So the sketching and dimensioning is really good. The sketch gives you an idea of what it is you are putting down, and then the dimensions give you the numbers you need to make a scale drawing. So my neighbor who sold his house, I might keep this because it's my golf pro that bought it, but that's just a sketch, a dimension sketch of his mortise lock. So I can replace this mortise lock, hopefully a new Baldwin lock. That's an old, like 90-year-old Yale lock. And then I drew just a book of stuff I was going to throw away, and I thought I'd show it to you guys first. Now, what's the mortise lock? So that's a tubular latch. Both of those knobs, tubular latch. This is the latching mechanism. Those are the edge of every door, right? Entry doors, and commercial doors like banks, buildings, stuff like that. You will see mortise locks, where instead of a 1-inch hole, there's a mortise that's 3/4 to 1 inch wide, 6 inches tall, and 4 inches deep. And it takes a mortise case. It's a big lock case. So your Baldwin entry sets, most of your jazzy entry doors are Baldwin mortise locks, and they take a mortise case.
How is that spelled?
Mortise?
Yeah.
M-O-R-T-I-S-E. Mortise. M-O-R-T-I-S-E. Mortise typically a mortise takes a tenon in woodworking. Mortise is a square or rectangular hole that takes a tenon. So it's a hole in one board, or a square cutout hole that takes a tenon in another board. It goes all the way through it. And if you haven't got it, I'll draw it at another time where I'll actually show you a mortise and tenon joint. I'm getting off topic here. But I really wanted to get you to, I actually drew those to scale as a planter box I was going to build for my kid. I had a reason I was going to show you this. Now I can't remember. But here's what I really want to do before we part company. I want to show you what's available to you on Canvas. So let's go to Canvas. Sorry. So we didn't do a safety meeting. God, dang it. That's all right. We'll do it next week. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do the safety meeting, you guys. You're all lucked out. Just be safe, right? We'll talk about it another time. But right here, if you go to Canvas, click on hand, power, and stationary tools. You can open up my Word doc or open it up in here. Up this Word doc right now, and it's a Word doc. It's 3 pages. It's got a page of hand tools, finished carpentry tools. It's got a page of hand tools. It's got a page of portable power tools, and it's got a page of stationary power tools. Might be more than 1 page. Hand tools. So familiarize yourself with those hand tools, print them out, or take a look at them. And if there's any of these tools, try to have the time to run through them with you, because this is basic instruction. Make a note if you don't know what they are. And we'll discuss them. Like for instance, I'm figuring finish hammer. You guys all know what those are. A framing square, pretty much got that. But you may not know what adjustable T-bevel square is, or a speed square. You may not know what C clamps are, or a circular saw guide, even though I did that in my Thursday night class. You may not know what a scribe is. That you don't. Or pinch dogs, or block plane, or a dovetail saw, or a back saw. You may not know what routers are really. So there's a whole lot of tools on there. If you note and count them, I bet there's 50 or 60 tools. That's a lot of tools. Every tool on there is in here. Tool next to a lot of tool. Every tool on there is in here. So there are a ton of tools in there. So there's your basic hand tools. And I haven't even looked at chapter 2, 3, 4, and 5. I guess that's what he's got you doing, right? You guys know what Jim's got you doing. He's got you doing quizzes and all that stuff on. Tonight was kind of a bonus round for me. I wanted to do that. Yeah, look at this. He's already using it. I wanted to do that, and I wanted to talk a little bit about tools, but I didn't want to have an early night because it's somebody's birthday. And, okay, so check those out. And if you have questions about those tools, specifically ask me. Some of them you may not know what the heck they are, and I prefer to explain them to you so know what they are. Because this is basic instruction. I got to remember what this really is. It's basic instruction. I need to give you some overviews, but let's really get an overview of the tools. Make sure you feel good about that, familiar with that. Next week we'll see what Jim's got in store for you. Also, and then I'll talk about this field trip, which I'm pretty sure I'll be able to put together. And then you'll be able to see some of the larger stationary power tools that are used in cabinet making milk. Yes.
Would the field trip be the same, like day and time at 6 o'clock?
Yeah. So it'll be Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And we'll meet out there and we'll leave from out there. We won't come here at all. And I'll give you plenty of warning. So I'm telling you, in 2 weeks hence, we'll probably have a field trip. And by next Tuesday, I will confirm, and tell you where it is and all that stuff. In the meantime, no homework for me. Just have a blast. Be at Jim's class tomorrow night. Do whatever he tells you, all right? And I am going to go have meatloaf, turkey meatloaf, which my wife is making right now.
Happy birthday.
Hey, and you guys, Zoom guys, I'm shopping sure.
Yep.
Not all about
Happy
you.
birthday,
Yes,
Mr.
sir. Happy birthday, Rod. Have a good one.
Hey, thank you all.
Thank you.
Mike Silva, did you make it? I dare. You made it, dude. I gotta mark over here. Can't remember if I got you.
Being athletic and all this shit, you know. But y'all know I was also sick for like 5-6 years, you know what I mean? From 19 pretty much to 20 years, you know what I mean? And on top of that, I had those
Meeting for Thursday night didn't change.
Nadir, I got you, man. Nadir, you were last week, right?
all that basketball that I did, pretty much out
Happy birthday.
sports out the window, you know, anything at the I couldn't even like really dance.
Said Mike.
Wanted to, because I feel like if I do it in a certain way too hard or something, it might make my lung collapse and then I'm out of commission for a while, you know what I mean? So
Thanks for coming.
I'm happy to say.
Thanks for coming, you guys.
Thank you, Rod. Have a good one, bro.
Hey, see you next week. Thanks for coming. Thanks a bunch.
And it's like, it's so